Back on Skyhawk Talk here. Coach Jason Simpson joins us. We're going to talk UT Martin football. I need John. Get John. Yeah, I need John.
You got a bunch of sports going on tonight,
I'm
man.
telling you.
You're all talking about headers and football, talking about free throws. Man.
It's a little schizophrenic, but I think I can make my way through.
I'm confused, but
I hope so.
Awesome, though. Congratulations to Coach and the girls soccer. That's awesome. And, boy, women's sports are good around here.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Awesome. Softball, basketball, soccer, volleyball, everybody doing well.
Here's our sideline reporter. Remember we used to have a segment called 3 Good Questions with John Abel? You don't have 3 good questions? Come on, John. John, our sideline reporter. How are you, John?
I have 1 good question.
1 good question, okay.
What are we going to do without Derek Carr next year?
Run the ball.
Now, let's talk about the game. Can you hang out and talk about the game for a few minutes? Okay. With Coach Simpson. First of all, 28 points in the first quarter. I don't know if I really expected that, but you jump out to a 28-7 lead. Now, John and I and Tom and Randy and everybody else who talked about the game thought it was important for us to get off to a good start because Jacksonville State's a good team, man. You did.
No, it was, and, there was some strategy there, obviously, because, we had a week off. So we had, like I told you, I was very pleased with our open week and our prep week leading up to the game. So, because it can play with your psyche a little bit. All of a sudden you go through the first, you got open week, right? They had to travel to you, and all of a sudden you don't score in that first quarter. Now everything's back even. You didn't use those 2 weeks, that week and a half off as an advantage. So that certainly was the strategy, and we got it going.
No, we were just impressed with early in the game, and I even heard Derek talk about it in the press conference. Man, he was finding the receivers.
Well, he was, and our coaches, and we came up, we had a good strategy offensively, and, the kids were making plays and very proud. The big thing was, too, is that we got the run game going.
Yes.
And we did, and for us to run for 200 yards, and, that was typical of us last year, and our identity has changed, but, that was getting us to the next pass. And, we were keeping them on their heels. They didn't know if it was run or pass.
Because it was almost perfect balance.
No, it was. It was good.
Yeah.
And, of course, we were only in and we were, in one back for, 85% of the night. But yet, we were grinding out some, 3, 4, 10-yard runs to get us to that next pass. Because, very rarely do you only throw the ball 400 times for 400 yards. But the longest completion was, I think, 34 yards, 32 yards, something like that. Usually there's a 60-yarder in there. And there was really no screens in the game. So everything was intermediate, get out of his hand fast. And they got us a couple times. We messed up some protections. But when you have 87 plays, sometimes that happens.
Defensively, too, I thought you put a lot of pressure on Ivory there in the first half.
At time, we had 11 pressures. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking today, when you throw the ball 30-something time, you only had 1 sack. And I give their quarterback credit and their offensive line. They had given up the least amount of sacks behind us going into the game. I think it had been like 7 or 8 games that they'd given up a sack this season. So, disappointing in spots, obviously to have the lead, not be able to hold it. But, man, we're so, believe it or not, I know the statistics don't look at it, but you watch the tape and you see good on defense, and all of a sudden bad, and that's where those big gainers are coming. And, but that's the way it's going throughout the league this year. You look at the statistics of, Jacksonville State, who's traditionally a strong defense, has given up, around 440 yards a game. We're scoring, we're scoring 30-something points a game, and that's and averaging 418 yards a game, and that's only 5th in the league in total offense. And we think we're a pretty good offensive team. So, right now this year it's turning into kind of the Big 12. Yeah. And you got to figure out a way to survive it.
You have a question yet?
No, I give a lot of credit to Ivory in that game because I thought our defense up front played very well. And a lot of times he was throwing the ball out of survival and just got in someone's hand and made a big play. So, Montori, DJ, those guys were in the backfield a lot. But he was elusive when they got back there and
he's strong.
Still made a play.
He's a very strong kid.
Even the 2-point conversion attempt where he threw long. I mean, he was he was real under some heavy duress, and he just kind of threw that ball up there. So our defense, I think, played better than what the score sheet looked like. Yeah. In a lot of areas.
It's never as bad as you think. It's never as good as you think on either side. And because you look, you say, man, that corner, he didn't stay on top of that post. Well, that's 1 touchdown and then 62 yards. There. And you can't get it back. So we're still finding a way. We talk. The difference was we didn't get the turnovers this week.
Yeah, that was interesting.
No turnovers.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest thing. We've been getting those turnovers, and that gets the opponent's offense off the field. That saves you, 125 yards in total offense would have got that number down manageable, which would have, knocked it down at least 2 scores, and you win that game by 21 points, and, everybody feels good about how you're playing.
And the other thing that we haven't done a lot this year is the penalties.
Yeah, boy, that was frustrating. I got all over the guys today. We had 12 penalties on the game, 9 of them on our defense. That's unacceptable, and they know that. And, the personal fouls, Montori was playing hard. He was throwing his body around. Those are unfortunate. Thad Williams, Thad's our most productive DB, and, he had 2 on the day, and we kid him all the time, about not being physical, but yet he gets one for hitting the quarterback, defense's quarterback. So he had 30 yards in penalties. So, it wasn't lack of effort. We played hard. We got to play a little bit smarter. But we realized that, I disagreed with Coach Crow. I read his comments. He thought they had the game, at one time under control. I never felt like they could stop us offensively. I didn't care if he had to score 80. I felt like we could on this particular day. Mm-hmm. And, whether we were going to score in the last 40 minutes if they get the 2-point conversion or whether we were going to win the game in overtime, just knew we needed one stop. If we could just get one stop, then we could put the game away.
Other thought, too, Coach Crow is quoted as saying Derek Carr's the best quarterback in the OVC. John, that's a major compliment in this year's OVC's crop of quarterbacks.
Absolutely, and I heard that from another assistant coach that used to be here Saturday after the game. Got to spend a little time with Coach Boone.
Yeah.
And he was very complimentary about Derek Carr and comparing him to Casey Brockman and some of the kids around the league, and just what other level that he's at in terms of his play.
And I was surprised he was even saying all that before the game.
He did.
And I don't know, and I'm sure that there weren't any ulterior motives into that, and that he truly believed it, but I'm sure he's trying to fire up his team.
Yeah, I think there was, but now he may believe him.
But he said it after the game.
Yeah, now he may believe him.
7 touchdown passes will change your opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there was ulterior motives, but, he's kind of believed it, but now he really is convinced of it, and we certainly are, and Derek's playing well, and he needs to continue to do that, and these next 4 quarters coming up this week.
Go ahead. I was going to say 2 things happened in that game. They kind of helped us out. One, the missed point after, and boy, you cannot take those for granted, and we seem to always do that as broadcasters. I'm sure coaches don't.
No.
But I had to remind Chris, in 2008, we won the game because of a missed extra point on that rainy Thursday night in Martin.
No, we sure did.
31-30.
And and also because we beat them 3 of the 4 times they've been here, and remember the punter dropped a snap or went over the punter's head.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. We talked about that. The glue to our football team is our special teams, but we didn't do anything good on special teams Saturday. We didn't return a punt big. You
didn't make a lot of mistakes there either.
Exactly, but we made a lot of mistakes. We had to block in the back. Jed Howard got it on the kickoff return where Barfield broke a good one. But like I said, the things that that they did, they missed the extra point that you take for granted, and then the shank the punt.
Yeah.
And so we won the special teams, even though it was not something that's that's not show up in a stat sheet immensely. And so that's just what we are.
Okay, we're going to keep it here instead of going to the break, John. If you can hang out for a couple more minutes. When you look at the Ohio Valley Conference standings now, you have UT Martin tied with Eastern Illinois at 5-1, EKU now 5-2, Tennessee State, Jacksonville State, Murray State, Southeast Missouri, Tennessee Tech, and Austin Peay round out the rest of the conference standings. You continue to, after Saturday's game, hold your own destiny in your hands,
and that's that's a good thing, obviously. Now, if you're a betting man, the odds in Vegas, you still put your money on Eastern Illinois because they have 1 game left.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's versus Southeast Missouri, and it's at home. Mm-hmm. So you're playing a team that struggled this year, and you've got them at home, and you do not play 2 more games like we do based on the schedule because they're the team matched up with TSU this year that only has to play 7. And so, the line would say that they are the favorite to win the league because we have to win 2 games, and one of them's on the road, and one of them's against a quality opponent of TSU. So, we understand, we understand the logic, we understand the math that goes with that.
It's not. I can say this. You can. It's not fair. It's not fair that some teams
they don't play all the teams.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fair. I would say it's not fair if we were in Eastern Illinois or Tennessee State's same identical scenario. It's not fair.
No, it's not fair when you don't play. And does that figure in at any way, or
it goes on? If I understand it correctly, it goes on losses.
Right.
So you could be 6-1. They could be 6-1. We could be 6-2. We beat them head to head. but they get the automatic bid.
It's not fair because if you play more games, you're more likely to get more losses.
That's right.
And I'm not even good at math.
Well, it's frustrating, no question about it.
But it is what it is. You go to Tennessee Tech on Saturday, and that's a big game, a 1:30 start. Now, when you look at their 0-6 conference record, that again is misleading. They almost beat Eastern Illinois this past weekend.
Guys, like I said, that is so misleading, and it's. I hadn't even looked at the scores. I just watch the tapes and watch it by cut-ups, and sometimes I have to say, did they really lose this game? What happened?
They nearly beat Tennessee State. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they lost in the last second Tennessee State. They had the lead versus EKU in the fourth and blew that one. They had the lead versus Jacksonville State late in the third and blew that one, and then they had the lead this week and let this one get away from them. So they're very capable. They're the conference champs from last year, went to the playoffs. They've got an NFL wide receiver. They've got some other quality players around them. Now they're playing their backup quarterback, who is a runner as well as a thrower, and that causes you some more, some headaches. So, and you're on the road, and it's their senior's last game at their stadium.
That's right.
So a lot of, and like nothing more than to knock us out and to end their career on the field. But all that being said, that doesn't change practice tonight, practice tomorrow, and when the ball gets kicked off, you got to go play.
Okay. Anything else, John?
No, I'm good.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you, Coach. I know we're going to practice. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks,
we'll talk
guys.
to you Saturday. And John Abel, I just want to say to you personally here on the air, you do a fantastic job as a
thank you.
sideline
So do you.
reporter.
You and Tom do a great job.
Yeah, we're just sitting up there
Even though
watching
you
the
put
game.
me out in the cold and you sit there in your nice warm booth and tell me how warm it is and how great the food is.
Yeah, we have an air conditioner and a heater. Let's thank Paul Tinkle for that. But no, John, I always enjoy working with you, and I want to say publicly on Skyhawk Talk, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's always enjoyable, and we look forward to seeing you Saturday.